This is the Sunday again. We are back here with our English class. 上次我们讲了中秋节，今天呢，因为那个英语王过去我们再讲一下英语王，因为非常非常多的资料。本来呢，今天是 September 11，以前是去年我讲了一课是911的事件，是美国发生的大事件。这一次是英国发生大事件。It is involving a lot of people in the world, including Canada. 因为我们加拿大也有关联在那个都是跟那个英女王有切身的关系You have very closely related to the UK's monarchy. Monarchy is 贵族那个王室的人员。我们都知道我们讲过一课是Queen Elizabeth II was born on the 21st April 1926 1926年1926年出世嘅係叫做 Princess Elizabeth Alexandra Mary in Mayfair, London, and she is the first child of King George IV and Queen Elizabeth. Her mother is also called Elizabeth. 她的妈妈也是 Elizabeth 她爸爸是 George。她的妈妈呢以后呢，因为 Queen Elizabeth 是王后呢，她妈妈就叫 Queen Mother 王后的妈妈。这样去看。今天呢我赶多一点资料，所以不要太多那个讲的课程，大家先听故事那么all the lifetime of Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, and then the second lesson 我们第二课呢我们就会讲那个他的最大的5个 challenge 挑戰挑戰，點樣挑戰佢嘅人生一生喺皇位，佢係 longest 皇位最長嘅一個皇后喺嗰個歷史上in history Elizabeth become heir apparent to the throne after her uncle King Edward VIII 佢嘅伯父退位，因為要美人不要江山。And the father becomes king. Otherwise, the father is not the eldest son. And then the King Edward was the eldest son, and he left. He want to leave to be a king. He doesn't want to be a king. Then Elizabeth makes first public speech at 14. 所以我们就要看看我们这也讲过一下。那么他也经过很多的那种人生的历史she is a very very super extraordinary woman 她也经过那个德国一个很快的战争 lightning war and the UK was involved. That was the war 那个戰爭呢好短嘅時候1940年1940 1940到1941年9月到5月，所以差不多有好幾個月5、6、7、8、9個月左右有8、9個月嘅戰爭。咁佢經過好多，亦都經過世界大戰第二次大戰第二次世界大戰the World War II 我們就是repeat 一點。那麼she married to Prince Philip Mountbatten. Philip 呢 have to give up he's a prince of Greece and Denmark's parent, and he has to give up his status to marry to the UK's queen. So that means he will be forever a British instead of Greece or Denmark 因為佢咧就 結婚，所以佢個姓名都要改翻嚇。They marry at the Westminster Abbey。Westminster Abbey 哈，在那个这个大教堂里面结婚哈。Many occasions were held at this Abbey. Abbey is a very large church 哈，Abbey 哈。那么就是现在呢 ，1948 Prince Charles was born, and he is the direct 繼承人哈。Heir apparent to the throne 皇位嚇 ，That's why now King Charles III is being announced。我哋係嗰個英女王走咗之後咧，查理斯王子第3代佢就繼位啦，已經定晒啦嚇。Elizabeth 有4個 children，4 children 嚇。The second one is Anne, Princess Royal. And then Elizabeth become queen upon the death of the father of her father. Her father only have been king for a short time, and he was suddenly died. He suddenly died of a lung problem, smoking problem. So 佢係因為肺吸煙食得太多，所以有事幹。Upon the death of her father George IV， 所以佢咧就 Queen Elizabeth become the Queen of UK immediately at her very young age, 27 years old. 27 years old， 27歲，她就成為皇后。1953年，1953年嘅6月2號 ，June 2nd, 1953, and Queen Elizabeth become Queen at her 27 years old, crowned in a grand coronation ceremony. 佢係冠冕加冕的典禮at Westminster Abbey, where she had her wedding, and all the 900 years or 1,000 year history, everything is being held at this Abbey。所有以前嗰啲皇帝皇后都係嗰度加冕嘅。And then she went to a tour, visiting places, including many places, including Bermuda, Fiji, Tonga, Australia, Gibraltar. And this is her family, and then Prince Philip. Her husband is not a king. Her husband is called Prince Philip. So Queen is a queen. She is the number one. She's the head of the country. And then she has 11 years old Princess Elizabeth watch her father crowned as a king. 伊麗莎白皇后咧親眼見到佢嘅父親係加冕嘅。Then now Prince Charles also watch her mother being crowned as a queen. 因為佢係 the eldest daughter or eldest son. 佢又係Prince Charles is also watched her mother's coronation ceremony, same as Queen Elizabeth as a princess watched her father King George crowned ceremony. Okay, and then 16 years later, the king was not very long, only for 16 years, and then Queen came being crowned as 19 on the 2nd of June 1953. 就是这样 officially coronated. Official coronation take place. And this ceremony is being held at Westminster Abbey for 900 years. 有900年嘅歷史。And the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II will be follow suit. That means 個個都係咁樣去生效。The groundbreaking news is her ceremony is being televised 是電視播放喺全個世界 ，everybody watch the ceremony. This is the first time in the UK history, and then not only being watched by 27 million people in the UK alone, and millions more audiences, many audiences, 即係聽眾觀眾 around the world, around the world. That's why UK is very popular at those time, and then this ceremony has been watched and witnessed by many in the world. And then Elizabeth also have the third child, Prince Andrew, and then the fourth child, Prince Edward. And this is the family. Even she has the grandchildren. Charles' son, Prince Charles' son, now is the King Charles' son, Prince William, and the wife and the family. And the Prince Harris is the 孙子 grandchild of Queen Elizabeth. This was celebrating her 96-year birthday. 96-year birthday. 她那个96歲的生日也過了，也過了，又過咗96歲嘅生日，係同 family 一齊過，但係個 husband 唔喺度 ，Prince Philip 就唔喺度啦，he's no longer there. And this is Prince William's family. And this is Queen Elizabeth at her old age. In the history of Elizabeth, she made a historic visit to West Germany, first time visit to Germany from the British monarchy. And in 52 years, 52年之中咧，英國嘅皇室係第一次去探望德國。訪問 visiting the German country as in the 名義就係個用他的 British monarchy 嘅名義，不是私人的唔係私人嘅探訪Queen Elizabeth has done a lot in the life, and then the second part of my English I will detail the 5 very big challenge 我們第二個堂咧，我哋會講呢個Queen Elizabeth 嘅最大嘅挑戰，5個對題 ，5 greatest challenge in her life. 70 years reign 就係在位皇帝在位and then 1977 Elizabeth celebrate her silver jubilee 銀禧 was not the wedding, it's not the wedding silver jubilee, it is her throne 在位 crown as a Queen Elizabeth for 25 years on the throne. And then 1992, she also had problem with her children, 4 children, and the 3 have divorced and problem. And then she got lots of problem during her lifetime, but she conquered and could overcome. She overcome the country, big things, and the family crisis. And then in 1986, Queen Elizabeth II, she also visited China, China in history, in China with Prince Philip. This is the Great Wall, 長城 Great Wall, 長城 Queen Elizabeth II become the first British monarchy. 她是第一個英國的王族第一個英國王族嘅人呢 visit China, first one of the most important tours she had ever undertaken. 佢係其中一個係最very important 佢重要嘅一個旅遊去親善探訪中國 she had ever undertaken. It was seen as a critical piece of diplomacy 係一個外交diplomacy 係個外交 係 very very critical piece of diplomacy coming soon after testing negotiation between 就係喺中國同埋英國嘅大家商議 negotiation over the return of Hong Kong. Return of Hong Kong, talking about Hong Kong 香港香港還返俾中國Hong Kong is the colony of UK, England, and then it is 99 years 租約不平等嘅租約now is after 99 years they return Hong Kong back to China 歸還俾中國咁佢哋就去China to visit. And then this is the visit with the people in China at that time is 鄧小平還有其他的人And then visited Xi'an. This is some of the pictures. And then during her reign 在皇位嘅時候咧1997 Princess Diane died in a car crash in Paris. So under a lot of pressure for her because she did not do anything. She was quiet for 5 days after the crisis. 喺嗰個公眾場所咧有啲 people they are thinking they have a lot of 意見opinion about the Queen Elizabeth. And she have to undertake the public pressure to demonstrate, show her grief, 去表達佢嘅傷心、悲傷。And then Elizabeth make an unprecedented television broadcast because she is a queen. And then this is the daughter-in-law, which is ex-daughter-in-law, and she is already divorced. 已經離咗婚佢都做啲代表性嘅覺得悲傷所以呢個係 very difficult task for her to tribute to Diana's memory. This is a difficult time as a senior 長輩to show respect to somebody who is out of the family, out of the royal family, 因為佢已經唔係 belong 唔係屬於皇室嘅人員，明白嗎？他們已經 Diana 已經 that time is not belong to the royal family member because she's already divorced. And then the Queen also still show the respect to the public and televised to the public 那麼 in 2002 Elizabeth marks the 50 years of reign. That means her golden jubilee, the 金禧正史 is on her throne. That means as the queen. That year also she see the death of her mother, her dear mother. So it is very sorrow. And then she had celebrating her 50 year on the throne. And then her mother died, and also her sister Margaret passed away. 2 persons in the family very close to her passed away. Her sister, she has only one sister. She has only one sister and the mother. That means her family all passed away except her husband with her and her children. 就是這樣去看，要咁睇。Then 2007 Elizabeth becomes the longest living British monarch, 因為她呢是超越 Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria 喺做皇位嘅時候咧，有63 years and more， 有63年以上。Then after that, Elizabeth is more than, after 63 years and 1 days or extra days, more than her great-great-grandmother. Then she become the longest living, still alive, British monarchy, overtaking Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria also is a very capable woman, and she has affected Canada a great deal. 我们以前讲过一下 Queen Victoria 的生平跟加拿大的关系，同埋加拿大嘅關係Queen Victoria is very closely related to Canada. So now Victoria passed away, they know the age, and then Queen Elizabeth was still alive at that time. This is Queen Victoria before and after, the young time and the older time. Then become the longest living British monarchy over Victoria. OK， 这样去看。2011, Elizabeth makes a historic visit to Ireland. On the second lesson, I will tell you about the Ireland, 愛爾蘭had a first visit by British monarchy, and then since Irish independence, she has to go through a lot of crisis because they have the 內戰they have interior war, within the UK itself. And then 2012, Elizabeth marks the 60 years of her reign. 50 years now, silver is 25 years, 50 years is golden, and then 60 years diamond, 鑽石鑽石diamond jubilee on her throne, and she's older than 60 years, okay? And 60 plus 27 years, she was on the throne, crowned. 所以这样去看。And then September 9, 2015, Elizabeth surpassed Queen Victoria, become the longest serving monarch in British history. And then the 2016 celebrate official 90 birthday. 90歲90歲 2016, Elizabeth the British people celebrates Elizabeth's official 90th birthday. 90th birthday, she is the longest in life than her previous ancestor. 所有嘅以前嘅皇后皇帝，佢係最長命嘅，longest life with 3 days of national festivity， 有3日慶祝is her birthday at the 90th birthday 90歲有3天的慶祝，是國家的慶祝 national festivities， 這樣去看 that's why it is very glorious and she has long life. And then again, after a few years, 5 years, Elizabeth becomes the first British monarchy to celebrate a sapphire 係藍寶石 sapphire jubilee is 65 years on the throne. Okay, 65年喺皇座位Elizabeth becomes the first British monarchy to celebrate a sapphire is 藍寶石 jubilee, marking 65 years on the throne. Then March 2020, Elizabeth and Prince Philip, her husband, moved from Buckingham Palace in London to Windsor Castle, 温莎堡壘. At the start of the coronavirus pandemic, 有疫情有疫情我们那个2020就是我们也是有经过这个疫情的 pandemic time, and then Elizabeth and Philip they moved from London to Windsor Park Castle. At the beginning of 2020 is March. I still remember the date. Then April 9, 2021, Prince Philip, Elizabeth's husband of 73 years, they were together. 我们看英语我睇英语係咁 Prince Philip husband, Elizabeth's husband of 73 years together. That means they were married for 73 years. died at age 99他就2021年过去了dies at age 99 and 73 years together in the married life. And then October 2021, Elizabeth spent a night in a London hospital. Before she died, passed away only just 2 days ago, Elizabeth in 2021 spent one night in the London hospital, undergoing health tests, 去检验身体，檢驗身體所以 this is the new news. She canceled major engagement. 佢參加好多嘅聚會 in a sense of official country national meeting, parliament meeting, and she canceled many of her major 大型的engagement 約會 in subsequent months. After October 2021, she canceled many of the meetings. In the past, she never missed one almost, okay? On doctor's order, doctor's advice, doctor, 醫生 to only undertake light duty. She only take a light duty for her, on her throne 这样去看那个 doctor's order, doctors 他的醫生命令的叫他休息，不可以做太多太辛苦，他不可以去那个唔可以去開會大嘅會議，佢身體不支啦because she is old enough. And then 2022, Elizabeth becomes first British monarch to reach a platinum jubilee. 白金 is after 5 years, 65 becomes 70 years, 70年嘅叫做白金禧年 on the throne as a 皇后皇后看到她的進度then we know silver jubilee, golden jubilee, diamond jubilee, platinum, sapphire then platinum 25 years is silver, 50 years is golden, 65 years is sapphire, and then 60 years is diamond 60 years is diamond, 65 years is sapphire 藍寶石, 70 years is platinum is a very long time. She is as a queen, marking 70 years as sovereign 皇位 Elizabeth becomes the first British monarch to reach a platinum jubilee, marking 70 years as sovereign. Okay, 2022, only this year, February, and she passed away now, September. So she passed 70 years as a crown queen. Her previous ancestor, Queen Victoria, is 63 and a half. So June 2022, this year in June summertime, Elizabeth makes little public appearances, little public limited 有限的有限度的 public appearance. She did not come to see the public less during the 4-day holiday weekend, celebrating her platinum jubilee. 白金禧年就係 not very much going out, and her health is not quite good already. Elizabeth makes little public appearance 出現 in the public 係公眾場所出現 during a 4-day holiday weekend. 白金禧年 platinum jubilee, they have a 4-day holiday weekend celebrating this jubilee. Then September 6, 2022, Elizabeth meets Boris Johnson and Liz Truss at her summer holiday home in Scotland. 這個係首相英國嘅首相 Johnson was the last prime minister, and then Liz Truss is the next prime minister. So both of them went to the summer estate in Balmoral Castle, where Queen Elizabeth stays there. 她去養病的去住在那邊 Summer Castle. Her favorite resident, favorite 她是最喜愛那個地方。因為夏天比較熱夏天比較熱，所以佢走去北邊 Scotland 蘇格蘭那邊的一個 summer residence Then to oversee the handover of power. So that means from the outgoing prime minister to his successor. 從 Johnson prime minister 的手中交借給next prime minister for the duty 就係佢把呢個首相嘅工作移交俾另外一個新嘅首相咁樣睇。Elizabeth meets, so she did not go to the public or the parliament palace or to watch the ceremony, but then they do it at her home in a summer castle. Elizabeth meets Boris Johnson. So then we know that Boris Johnson was the last prime minister of UK, and Liz Truss is the next prime minister of UK, and now the new prime minister is Liz Truss. So they oversees the handover 是移交手續handover of power 代替的手續移交的一個手續from the outgoing prime minister to his successor 一個繼承的人，下面繼承他的職位的工作的權利這樣去看。The ceremony 本來呢 the ceremony traditionally held at Buckingham Palace 喺白金漢宮 in London 在倫敦英國倫敦舉行 and then this time is exception. So then we already see that something is not right with Queen Elizabeth. The ceremonies traditionally 傳統性呢是 held at Buckingham Palace in London, were moved to Balmoral Castle for the first time 第一次這樣去做就是 the doctor know that she is not in a good state. In the Queen's reign 在70年裏面他的王位之中他從來沒有這樣做他是親力親為的佢親力親為做任何嘅事情咧佢都親力親為嘅。In light of the mobility problem is what the doctors say 佢嘅行動不方便mobility problem 他的行動問題他們沒有講什麼病他就是 in light of her mobility problem 就是行動的不方便所以 the ceremonies traditionally 傳統性的 held 舉行 at Buckingham Palace 白金漢宮 in London 在倫敦他現在 Scotland London is in England and then the Scotland is more north 北部的向北部 were moved to Balmoral Castle that's her summer holiday or summer residence 度假嘅屋住宅 for the first time in the Queen's reign 是她的統治 in light of her mobility problem because of her mobile not very convenient walking she is not feeling good so she cannot travel mobility 我們知道 mobility 就身體有缺陷 不可以走动方便哈，那个 mobility 哈，我们这样去学这样字。And then September 8, 2022, Elizabeth dies. 刚刚去世 was Thursday. That's why I did one lesson in the history of the Elizabeth's life. 我们很快我就把那个Queen Elizabeth 女王的就做成一个英语课。那么 at Balmoral Castle, she died at Balmoral Castle in Scotland at age 96, 96岁。Then you see her 一生生平她经过两个第二次大战，也是经过很多那种的小的战争，内战国家里面的事情。Now he is the Queen Elizabeth II is a British longest reigning monarchy and a rock of stability. 它是非常稳定的一个岩石 ，a rock of stability across much of a turbulent. Turbulence means it is a 动荡的世纪century. You can see century is 100 years and she's 96 years old. Is she goes through 100 almost, okay? And then died Thursday after 70 years on the throne. This is concluded the whole Queen Elizabeth's life. Queen Elizabeth II is a British longest reigning monarch and a rock, 石头很岩是非常稳定的 of stability, stable, S-T-A-B-L-E, stable, stability across much of a turbulent, many problem it happened, 发生了 century, that 100 years got everything, many things happen, 这样去看 died Thursday after 70 years on the throne, and she was 加冕 is actually in February, February, and then she's 70 years plus how many months later, March, April, May, June, July, August, almost 6 to 7 months after, okay? And then she was 96, was because she died already, so she was 96. And then this Queen Elizabeth II is the longest reigning British monarch whose rule span 就是说跨越7 decades. Decade means 10 years. 7 times 10, so 70 years. Died on Thursday at the age of 96. This is how we also say it in another way. 我们另外一个方法讲她的生平。The longest, first one is she's longest reigned British monarch, and also she spanned the ruling span. She's a ruler. Ruler 就是领袖统治者统治者 ruler span 7 decades, 7 times 10 years, 7 decades, and she died on the Thursday at the age of 96. Thursday, which is the 8th of September, only 2-3 days ago, okay? And then Buckingham Palace has announced, because you have to be officially announced. You cannot listen to the rumor. Then official, their office announced, have a 告示，有一个牌照告诉人家。Then the Queen's oldest son, Charles, become king immediately. And his title is King Charles III. 3 is third, 第三位所以前面他有的祖先也是有叫 Charles. And the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon, 就是说 8 September in the afternoon, UK time, UK's time, United Kingdom's time. The King and the Queen consort. King, 现在的 King is Charles III. And the Queen consort means his wife, which is called Camilla. 他们是叫陪伴，所以他不是真正是很 queen 的意思 ，queen 是王后的 queen， 她是 king 的一个陪伴的人。Will remain at Balmoral this evening. Both of them, the couple, 他会留在 Balmoral Castle 陪伴他的母亲。This evening, and will return to London tomorrow, the next day, which is Friday. Understand? Which is Friday. So they have to return to London. They got a lot of things to do. Have to prepare for the ceremony or to become a king. The royal family said in a statement. 在那王家公开告訴大眾的就是這樣，睇個大眾咁講俾大眾聽。The Queen died peacefully， 很平安 ，peacefully at Balmoral Castle this afternoon, means of Thursday, 8th of September afternoon. The King, which is King Charles III, and the Queen Consort Camilla will remain 留喺 Balmoral Castle this evening 嗰一晚and will return to London tomorrow, which is the next day. Next day means a Friday, the 9th of September. The royal family said that in a statement 就告訴大家的。那麼 referring to Charles as the new king and the first time, because when they announced it, they already decided King Charles III, Charles will be the king, the eldest son of Queen Elizabeth. 非常清楚非常清楚The king said in a statement that the queen's death, 他說他的媽媽的死亡呢 was a moment of the greatest sadness for me, for him, okay? 他在講話 and all members of my family, 就是 a moment of great 最大的一個憂傷是對他自己本身跟他的家人，因為他的家人就是他的兄弟姐妹跟那個他的兒子媳婦跟孫子那麼this is the 佢嘅屋企人 all members of my family, so because he's a king, he can 代表他們講話，代表佢哋嘅家人講說話so the moment of greatest sadness, very 憂傷 for him, for me, he said, this is what he said, and for all members of my family. 這樣去看we mourn 我們profoundly 就是我們很憂傷，在傷痛 profoundly, very 深的 very deeply, the passing of the cherished 是非常珍貴的一個君王 sovereign 是個君王，是他的媽媽and a much loved mother. 他說他是給我們所愛護的媽媽母親這樣。那麼 we mourn, that means him, Charles III, including his family members, mourned profoundly, very 深刻的 the passing of a cherished 非常珍貴的君王，是代表人民的 represent the people, and a much loved mother. Their mother, because it's their mother and grandmother and grandmother, yeah, and great grandmother. 四代，他们有四代同堂。I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country. 他知道King Charles 还在讲话。I know 我知道这个他的 loss will be deeply 非常深刻的感受到全個國家。整個國家 throughout the country， 整個國家都好非常傷痛好深刻嘅紀念，感受到嘅傷痛felt throughout, felt 感受throughout the country, the whole country. The realms, not only the country, the realms and the Commonwealth, 他們的領土跟他殖民地聯邦的殖民地，聯邦殖民地同埋佢嘅領土，因為英國有好多地方都係屬於英國嘅殖民地。And by countless people, countless means cannot count. Count you can 數可以數less cannot count 不可以數的，唔可以數得到嘅人民 people around the world because they have a lot of love to this lady. He said in a statement 我們再看一下 I know her loss, 我知道 her loss 我們沒有她 will be deeply felt throughout the country， 就是我们整个国家都感觉到很伤痛。Not only my country, but also the realm and the Commonwealth， 领土跟那个英国的殖民地 ，and by countless people。countless people 是数不尽的人民哈，那个 people citizen 哈 ，around the world 啊 ，people friends around the world。He said in a statement， and then crowds of mourners， 那么很多人去吊丧 ，gather outside Balmoral Castle， 在他的 summer residence 在外面去献花跟痛哭。And other royal residents， 因为他们都知道住在那个城市，知道他住在哪一个 castle 呢？他们也去他的 resident castle， 其他的 castle 去放花在外面哈。Despite heavy downpour in part of the UK， downpour is a heavy rain， 本来是 heavy rain， and then on Thursday evening， and then many brought flower， 很多人带花 and lit candles。那么点蜡烛啊，点蜡烛 ，some looking visibly shaken by the news， visibly 就是很显明的，看得到的，睇得到佢真係好傷痛，同埋 shaken is 發抖，跟那個 shaken is that cannot expect this is the news because they almost think that she cannot die， no she cannot die this kind of thinking because it's so long and then because of the people's family, like grandmother, sees Queen Elizabeth and the mother, and then the grandchildren. They almost think that she never died. This kind of feeling 哈，我们再读一下 ，crowds of mourners， crowd 就是一群人，吊丧的人 ，mourners gather outside Balmoral Castle and other royal residences, despite heavy downfall， even 下很大的雨 in part of the UK on Thursday evening， 还有很多人去吊丧，去献花，买花放在那边去 ，brought flower 带花去 and lit candles。Some looking visibly shaken by the news, they cannot believe it. They cannot believe this is the news. Come quite suddenly 这样去看In keeping with the royal tradition, a written statement announcing the Queen's death was displayed on the gate of Buckingham Palace. 所以它有正式的告示 in a striking moment just after the official announcement was made. Official announcement 就是公开告诉平民，告诉大家的then they had to put a sign written black and white notice on the Buckingham Palace Buckingham Palace display 就是贴在外面 display 表在外面 on the gates 在那个 Buckingham 白金漢宮殿嘅前門嘅大嘅閘度in a striking moment that moment just after 剛剛他們 announce 宣布這個 bad news and the heavy rain battered London stopped， 本來是非常大的雨就停止了 and then a large double rainbow appeared over the palace， 有一個非常大的好大嘅double 雙兩條彩虹天虹appear over the palace， appear 顯現出來In keeping with the royal tradition, a written statement announcing the Queen's death was displayed on the gates of Buckingham Palace in a striking moment, that very moment, just after the official announcement was made. 那个官方的宣布一贴出来呢 ，the heavy rain 本来很大雨的。Suddenly 在殴打着那个 London battering 砰砰砰砰下雨 London stopped and a large double rainbow appeared over the palace 这样去看那么 Elizabeth ascended to the throne in 1952 她是继承她的父亲的王位 King George VI She oversaw the last throes. 她看到最不好的时间of the British Empire. British Empire 就是英國嘅一個大不列顛嘅皇帝地方嚇 Empire 國家 weather 就是說它的這個天氣嚇，就是風化傳 global upheaval 很動盪的 upheaval 是動來動去 global 是全世界他看到全世界的動盪。那麼 and domestic 是國內的不好的東西發生，有內戰，有家裡的醜聞and then dramatically modernize the monarchy 他們也是把那個王室裡面的制度君主制度戲劇化變咗 modernize make it more modern this is a little bit deep for you but then 我們就是看到它是 weather go through a lot of difficulty that's why 我們等一下下一課告訴大家5個最大的一個 difficulty 這個是 Queen 的 latest photo and then Prince Harry arrived to Marlborough and all the relatives come in after the announcement was made. His wife Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, 他們有談頭的 was not traveling with him. He went by himself. So King Charles III is a new king. At the moment the Queen died, the throne passed immediately 就給那個 Charles 繼承了 and without ceremony to the heir. without 沒有儀式先傳給他繼續，因為一日不可以沒有君王Charles the former Prince of Wales 他本來的 title 叫 Prince of Wales 現在改了變成 King 變成 King but there are a number of practical and traditional steps 還有很多東西要做很多一個procedure 去進行which he must go through to be a crowned king. 他 have to go through many steps to become a king. And there's a new title for Charles' wife Camilla, who could become queen consort. Queen consort. Consort means is the term used for the spouse of the monarch. 就他的陪伴的一個伴侶spouse of the monarch. So she's not a queen.Not a king queen, but she's a companion, a spouse of the king. 這樣去看Over 7 decades of reign, 超過70年的一個統治Over 7 decades of reign, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth 就是那個王后跪下她那個 has witnessed the development of Canada 也是親眼看到加拿大的發展見證了加拿大的發展見證咗加拿大嘅發展所以同加拿大係有關係嘅所以我係講係有加拿大關係嘅那麼have shown her visit at key moment she visited Canada many times her visit at key moment many times at the some important event in our history, Canadian history, have shown 顯示俾咗大家 her dedication 她奉獻給加拿大 and personal commitment 個人的承諾個人嘅承諾係等於佢係愛護一個國家嘅 as Queen of Canada because she is also Queen of Canada so we will see this English as 我們看到的英語是 her visit at key moment 很多時間很關鍵的時刻 in our history Canadian history have shown 顯示her dedication 她的個人的對於加拿大的愛and personal commitment 個人的一個承諾 as a Queen of Canada she loves Canada is like her second home so we look at her history and she got married and crowned as a queen and then she visited Canada and then she also with previous Prime Minister Trudeau 是老出斗哈，那么现在是他的儿子在当那个 Prime Minister。Yeah, and then she visited many times, and at her young age, she loves Canada. She always come to Canada. And this is in Canada, Parliament Hill, Ottawa, and she visited Canada. And then this is only this month, September early until the 5th of September, they talk about the light, Northern Light, 加拿大的灯饰在Ottawa 的 Parliament Hill 举行，也是有放过他的 Queen Elizabeth。那个时候我们还不知道他会有就是 last 2 days。This is all created in Canada to remember her and then to tribute her, and then she only died after that. Okay, and then she looks to the people, very kind lady, and is a dedicated queen to Canada. And every time she wear very beautiful color set of jacket and the hat, and then every time very different sharp color, and to be very outstanding in the crowd. 就在那个人群中，她很突出来，他们都设计给她设计是非常独特的那種嘅顏色，好獨特嘅一個顏色。非常美麗嘅一套套嘅衣服同埋個帽那麼 this was her young time, just crowned as queen, and this is her life at the end in memory, okay, and memoriam, and this is from Canada. So Her Majesty, that's her 稱號，佢嘅稱號 Queen Elizabeth II in memoriam。我们纪念他这个是后代的时间的那个照相。And then 我们加拿大呢係下半旗，our lower our flag. This is Canadian flag at the moment is lower at the Parliament Hill in Ottawa. And then Canadians are invited to sign and view the online book of condolences. 我们加拿大也是在网上可以给我们的人名啊，谁都可以可以签名跟那个表示sadness condolences 在那个 website 里面可以去这样去做。Canadians are invited to sign and view 是看其他人讲的话，给他的哀悼and view the online book of condolences. Everybody can see it. And then Canada pays tribute 致敬给那个 Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. This is from Canada website, Canadian website, government website. 那么 September 9, 2022, when she died, and then there is a Time magazine 時代雜誌commemorate issue 這個紀念的一個 issue of Time magazine from the United States is subdued with 這個uniform, her uniform at a young age, picture of Her Majesty's dressed in black with a simple title, The Queen Elizabeth II, 1926 to 2022. 她的一生就是这样去看。And then this is another magazine, newspaper, 9 of September, I newspaper, Friday's special edition marks the death of Queen Elizabeth at the age of 96. This is 她的封面，这个 magazine 的封面 ，newspaper 封面就是这样去看。this is her recent photo. 好的，好，我們休息一下，我們等一陣間，多啲的俾幾分鐘，我們多幾分鐘給我們的下一課的課堂，is about the 英女王一生中5個大挑戰，5 life challenges, okay, so it will be very interesting, okay, now we just 休息一下 好，我把那个 recording